converges in the desert. Lexus. The road you're on, John Anderton, is the one less traveled. Make sure you drive with dice.
Good evening, John.
You can do the old-fashioned
John Anderton.
Century 21
Styles provides gourmet cuisine.
John Anderton! You can use a Guinness right about now.
Stressed out, John Anderton.
Escape from it all, Harrison. Get away, John Anderton. Forget your troubles. Twill soon, John Anderton.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Anderson. Today is Monday, February 27th, 2012, and I'm Darko. My website is ggnonline.com. That's ggnonline.com. Also on YouTube is ddarko2012, and my backup channel is ddarko2013 if you'd like to subscribe to that. I have a poll up here, and it's good for 9 days still. 58 people have voted so far. When do you think or feel the crap will hit the fan? So far, majority are saying a year, within the next year, followed by the next 3 months. So go in there and check that out. You can put in your email and get updates there. Okay, I'm ready to move on here. All the links will be posted in YouTube's video description, although unless, of course, there's some kind of technical difficulties or if I make a mistake. But otherwise, I try to put all those links in there, so check them out. USPS, the Postal Service, to cut another 35,000 jobs. Can the post office be saved, and should it be? It says the U.S. Postal Service plans to eliminate 35,000 jobs starting this summer by closing or consolidating 223 mail processing plants in the last quarter. The Postal Service lost $3.3 billion due to a large part of retirement and health care benefits, and it owes future retirees as well as decreased volumes of mail being sent, i.e. paying stuff online. So they have like a little 5-year plan, sounds like the Great Leap Forward, right, that Congress is outlining how they could raise revenue. The plan includes proposals such as ending Saturday delivery, closing post offices, and cutting jobs, in addition to raising the price of a first-class stamp. So one of the things, of course, is what I've mentioned this before, is you can just oust the whole, door-to-door delivery of your mail. You can just, everybody like in the rural areas just goes to the little postal office and goes to the box and gets their mail. It's kind of a luxury to have mail delivered to your house, and I think they can probably survive by doing it that way. Another incentive to do that, of course, is what? If you do that, then you might be able to get rid of your address, because if you're not having mail sent to your house anymore, well then maybe if enough people do it, we can get rid of our little prison cell numbers, our addresses, which are used against us. It's official. Greece announced the negative salary in a whole new meaning for pay to play. And it says, we think we've seen it all, and it turns out we hadn't. The country that gave the world the alphabet, philosophy, and plates with funny, sexually ambiguous drawings on them have outdone itself again, because beginning this month, some Greeks will have to pay for the privilege of having a job. From the press project, salary cutbacks called unified payroll, for contract workers at the public sector set to be finalized today. Cuts to be valid retroactively since November 2011. Expected result, up to 64,000 people will work without salary this month or even be asked to return money. Amongst them, 21,000 teachers, 13,000 municipal employees, and 30,000 civil servants, i.e. the police that are out there, with these protesters doing what they're doing. As far as the riot control and stuff like that, it's like, dude, eventually you're going to be phased out too. It's just, that's what's so sad is like here in America, they're just going to keep doing it at the G8 in Chicago. I mean, they're going to be batting protesters over the head, and they know there's going to be protesters because they're carrying out the tyranny, the globalists, and that when they meet with their big limousines and their private security army protecting them. Tear gassing and tasing and rubber bullets and these, now they have blinding devices and devices, the LRADs, that cause you to go deaf. So, and they're defending all this, and ultimately they're going to end up losing their own jobs, the civil servants. Taxpayers pay $47 million in legal fees for Freddie and Fannie Mae. Obama's sneak attack on senior citizens. There's lots of senior citizens in the U.S. right now. The number is increasing by 10,000 every day as baby boomers turn 65 and start applying for Medicare, and then shortly after, for Social Security. These are the folks who once thought that this would be the golden years, when their years of hard work and savings and pension plans would let them live the good life in places that are sunny and warm. Then came the financial crisis. I love how they always call it a financial crisis, like it just, oops, out of nowhere, you know. This is circumstances, and the stock market crash, the recession, and the non-recovery. And it goes on and says, as bad as that sounds, it's not the worst news. The worst news is that the Obama regime plans and policies constitute a multifaceted sneak attack on seniors. He cleverly conceals the sneak attack while he assures senior citizens he's going to take care of them and nothing will change for them. So it says here, consider these actions all planned or already created by Barack Obama and his minions. Well, I don't think it was really created by him at all. It's just, anyways, I just look over it and I look past that. It's just so obvious to me, but I guess it's not obvious to most people that he doesn't actually do anything. It's just every media article that I read is always as if Barack Obama's, crafting these plans. He doesn't do a effing thing, dude. He doesn't do a goddamn thing, and yet the media still says it like he does. They're so duped and stupid to believe that. Sorry. Depressed interest income. It says interest rates have been held unnaturally low by the Fed for a very long time. It says thus any money that senior citizens have in safe places like savings accounts, money market funds, and even most bonds earn very, very little interest, between 0.3 and 2%, draining remaining Social Security funds. Desire to show some economic growth and buy votes, Obama created a payroll tax holiday, which was supposed to be for a short time, like 6 months. And it goes on here, it says, now he's gallantly decided to do it again for a year this time, and it further drains Social Security system. And moving on here, dry up dividends and gut capital gains. Latest proposal tax by him, doubling the tax rate on dividends and capital gains. It says here, new taxes hidden in Obamacare. There's hidden surprises in the healthcare package, massive healthcare bill that was supposed to fix everything but doesn't. Most notable is a 3.8% tax on unearned income, which includes dividends, interest, proceeds from the sale of home, which many seniors are downsizing, and which is a source of assets for retiring income. And I'll leave with this. Reduce funding in Medicare and rationing healthcare. And they're already doing that in the UK, whether they will admit it or not. They're letting people die and call it a death pathway, and they'll have mobile euthanasia units eventually come to your house here in America, because most of the policies that go on in the UK will come over to the US, and then whatever happens in the US goes to the UK. Now work till you drop. Remember this, for boomers, for millions, retirement dream may well be dead. That's right. Go in there and check that out. Link will be posted. Most affluent would raise Social Security age. Bank of America survey finds. Says here that about 59% of people with more than $250,000, a quarter, a million investable assets, said the government should increase the eligibility age for collecting retirement benefits, according to the study. They're living longer and they're still working or plan to be working when they become eligible and don't need it yet. Europe is now China's sweatshop as Great Wall starts building cars in Bulgaria. Says the first Chinese automobile manufacturer to open an automobile assembly plant inside the European Union, and the latest move suggesting the country's car makers are seeking to establish a beachhead into the European market. Yes, that's right. It's now cheaper for China to make cars in the European Union. It used to be that the European car makers open plants to assemble their cars in China. Now the Chinese have turned the tables while opening one of their first factories in Bulgaria. And again, this could come to the United States as well, where you're going to have manufacturing where people are going to be working for basically pennies. One of the many purposes for the, quote, economic crisis or recession, right, is so that people become desperate enough to work for absolutely nothing. Or it could be to where you just basically are willing to sell your soul just to get a job. So that's another good environment for the elites to have too, right? It says here, rough sleeping in England rises by fifths as the number of people sleeping rough, I guess, are homeless, in England has risen by 23% in a year. The colonization begins. Germany may send 160 tax collectors to Greece. That's right. More than 160 German financial services executives are willing to come to Greece in order to strengthen the Greek tax mechanism, according to a report to be published in the German magazine. Greece will literally have to collect taxes to fund the second bailout package, which is merely a front for the ongoing Greek bailout of European banks. George Osborne says, UK has run out of money. The government has run out of money, cannot afford debt-fueled tax cuts or extra spending A prominent professor says UK's economic and financial model is a failure amid Chancellor Osborne's announcement that the country has run out of money, saying that Britain is on the path of bankruptcy. He said it's not that the government's debt is roughly 75% of the GDP is overly high, and that all the debt in the UK at 500% of the GDP is out of control, and that 500% out of that 200% is due to financial institutions. He says that Osborne should start correcting himself and correct the cause of the problem by taking control of the bank. Created the money endlessly at compound interest and have failed to put into the real economy and spreading of the real economy. He finishes up by saying, and he can do that by a gentle rise in the banking reserves. So there's different things that you can do, of course, right, to help the economy. And some people, the Keynesians, even think still, I guess, that you can create a war or something to boost the economy, which may actually happen. It says here, Britain is militarizing the Falklands. Argentina tells UN Secretary General concerned by escalation of dispute if Argentina lodges formal protests at recent deployments. Then we have this, whoops, the 46 million pound Apache helicopter from Prince Harry's unit crash lands after hitting power lines. And more news on this, SAS Ring of Steel protects William. Falklands Guard as tensions rise ahead of the anniversary. But let's not forget, from February 5th, 2012, Prince William's Falklands duty is entirely routine, says Hague. Has nothing to do with oil like in Somalia. So I guess that's another way to help if your country's going bankrupt because the banks have basically robbed and pillaged your country. You go for an oil grab in Somalia. So yeah, Britain is engaged in a secret oil grab in Somalia under the guise of humanitarianism. Cameron hosted an international summit in London last week, pledging more aid and the use of greater measures to tackle terrorism. Remember, I covered that. But the Observer said yesterday it had evidence that behind-the-scenes talks were proceeding between British and Somali officials over the country's oil. Sorry if I mispronounce this, but mercenary outfit Saracen International emerges in Somalia. So along with all the other troops, you got the Kenyans, and you have CIA drones out of Ethiopia. Now you got these contractors. Link will be posted to look at the world's most powerful mercenary armies. You can go in there and check them out, about G4S and the rest of them. Z Company or Blackwater. U.S. stocks rally as S&P 500 climbs to highest levels since 2008. Gas prices are climbing again. Then we have what? All the stuff surrounding gas prices. Obama, no magic bullet to lower gas prices. Well, actually it is. You're going to start this war with Iran, and then you're going to lower gas prices. Not him, of course, but the people he's working for. And then, like I said, that'll be the nice treat for the Americans who support the invasion and attack. So they're feeding the sheeple with all this garbage. As gas prices rises, Republican candidates step up the attacks on Obama's energy policy. But gas when Bush left office was $1.78. Gas today is $3.64. So read their propaganda and they'll tell you why Americans are paying more at the pump. Remember this article, gasoline prices are not rising, the dollar is falling. The Treasury Department just froze 2 deadly Yakuza godfathers' U.S. assets. That's right, some bad dudes. Israel plans to construct 500 new settlements. Well, how are they going to do that? Israeli airstrike wounds 2 in Gaza. Japanese party member measuring radiation in Tokyo found dead. An Italian court ends corruption case versus Berlusconi. That's justice. Thank you.